realize it until like that night. I'm like, hey, yo, we crawled down that hallway together this time.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, that was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. I'm
That's
like, yeah,
dope
it
to
was.
be-
Eventually the line gets up there. Eventually they find this girl. She must have hid in the closet in the knee wall. They didn't, you know, who
would have
thought? So they bring her out, you know, doing CPR on or whatever. She doesn't make it.
Welcome to The Firehouse, the show dedicated to the brave men and women who serve our community.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Firehouse on WRHU 88.7. I am your host, Chris Moses, and today, sitting with me in the Firehouse is my boy, Phil. What's going on, man?
What's up? How you doing?
I'm good. All right, so, Phil, I need you to tell them your full name, tell them what department you've been in, or what department you're in, tell them how long you've been in, and how many ranks you've held.
All right.
Or what ranks you've
What
held.
ranks? Phil Falco, Central Islip Fire Department.
There we go. CI in the building.
34 years. Pretty much held every rank except
Okay.
commissioner.
Except commissioner,
Except
okay?
commissioner. And
Are we
I'm
going to
looking
go there
forward-
one day?
No. No.
We're not going there.
No. Nope.
All right, so you pretty much held everything from
Everything.
lieutenant, chief.
Lieutenant, captain, chief, assistant chief. Yeah.
All right, so how long did you say you were in?
34 years.
34 years. I know you got some
I'm
stories
old.
for me.
I'm old. I'm old.
I know you got some stories for me. It's funny because in your bio, I guess it might have been a typo or maybe I didn't read it right. It said, I'm a 34-year-old firefighter. And I was like, 34-year-old. And then it said he had 20 years in MacArthur. I'm like, well, did he start when he was 14?
I started when I was 3 years old, you know.
I'm like, wait. There got to be a typo.
That's
or
a
whatever.
typo. I'll have to talk to my secretary
Yeah.
about that one.
But anyway, so 20 years. I know you got some stories, but let's start from the beginning, Phil. Like, what makes you say, I want to be a firefighter?
My father.
Okay.
My father was in the fire department as I was growing up. He became chief, and everything he did was cool. Everything was cool. I went to fires, a couple fires with him, and it was just cool.
Was he in Central Islip?
Yes,
or?
he was.
Okay.
He was.
He was in Central
Yeah.
Islip.
Yep.
So you saw him kind of doing what he do?
Yeah. You know, that brick portable radio, and the first cell phone that they got was wired and everything. It was crazy, but they had a lot of fun back in those days, and they saw a lot of fire.
Sure did.
And it was definitely something I wanted to do growing up.
So it was something that you just watched and was like,
Yeah.
you know what, I'm bred. Did they have a juniors?
They had a
department out?
juniors, yes.
Did you join
I was
the
on
junior?
the juniors, yeah, for a couple of years, and
Okay.
then at 17, joined
It's
the
time.
department. Yep.
It's
Yeah.
time. All right. So did you join your father's company? Was
Yes.
he in
Yes.
when you were in?
Yes, Engine Company 4,
Okay.
east end of town.
Okay.
Yeah, he was in. He was just getting out as chief as I was getting sworn in, so that was pretty cool.
So did you
be
get to
sworn in
respond
by
to
him.
any fires with him?
No, he left me. He always
Okay.
left me. You know, once we had a job one day, and I was just getting off the school bus, and I saw him taking off. And my mom had to drive me to the firehouse because I didn't have my license yet. But I made it to the fire.
You made it.
It was good.
You made it.
was
But
good.
still, you still, I guess, got to respond in a way with him. You
Sometimes,
got to go to the
yeah.
call.
I didn't want to get him in trouble too much. So,
Yeah.
yeah, he made me go to the firehouse, which is the right thing to do.
It
So.
was.
Yeah.
I love it. All right. So you started, went into the juniors, and then you become, you get into actual, CI, and now you're in there in the Central Islip Fire Department. What makes you now want to hold rank? Like, what makes you want to go into that? Because that,
I didn't at first. It was fun being a firefighter. It was
Yeah.
just fun not having any responsibilities, but on the fire ground. And then the opportunity came up, and I said, you know what? I really want to follow my father's footsteps and be a chief one day. And
okay.
that's how it all happened.
And it just was like, I'm just going to keep stepping
Yeah.
and keep going. Because I always tell, I always say that, being the captain of the company is a lot, right? Because you got to kind of wrangle all these guys. But then being the chief, right? This is everybody now. Like, how do you make that transition from captain to chief?
It wasn't really hard for me. I had we had a good core bunch of guys back then. And when I moved up in the chief's office, it kind of just flowed into what we were doing when we were all officers. And it was easy. I mean, a lot of my fires I went to as chief, when I saw that first new engine pull up, I would scan the crew,
Mm-hmm.
and I can go back to my car and
You're like,
have a cup of coffee because these
you
guys
know
are
they
going to do
know.
their thing. Yeah.
They're gonna let
Yeah.
me know. They're gonna.
It was easy.
report
I have
back.
to say it was easy. It
was
was
good.
easy.
All right. So in Central Islip, there's second assistant, first assistant, then chief, or is there
Third assistant.
So there's
second.
third assistant.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
we start with third. So you
Mhm.
went. So what commitment is that? Is it a year per or
2
years?
2 each.
2, 4, 6, 8?
Yes, 8 years.
So it's an 8-year commitment that
Yeah.
when you start there.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was good. It was good. I don't regret any of it. A lot of life-changing happenings that happened during that time, and which brings me to where I am and who I am right now. So
yeah. So 8 years. Wow. You gonna go back through? Maybe no.
No.
Not at all.
You promised me it would be like it was the first time around. I would.
Then
do
you
it.
do it, but
things are different.
Things are a lot
different. Yes.
Years ago,
Mhm.
a lot different. All right, so we're in. Where's Chief? Where does MacArthur come in? So if you can explain what you do at MacArthur, right? Just
Yeah.
explain that.
So I'm on the crash fire rescue crew there. Obviously, aircraft emergencies. We do respond to EMS calls on the terminal on the airport property. We do a lot of operations work there, and 20 years there.
20. So
10 more to go.
How does that come in? Are you already a chief when that happens? Are you an officer? How does that happen with the?
I think I was a chief. And one of my friends in CI worked there, and I was joking around with him one day. I'm like, "Hey, man, get me a job at the airport."
Okay.
2 weeks later, the chief calls me. He's like, "Hey, you want a job at the airport?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
He's like, "All right, come down." 2
What
weeks
were you
after
doing
that,
before that?
I was working with my uncle in air conditioning in
Okay.
Manhattan.
Okay.
Never want to go back to Manhattan again to work anyway.
At least.
But yeah, so it kind of started off as a joke, and here I am 20 years in.
20 years in.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to unpack that too, because I think that is very, it's interesting, and it's a different look at the fire service, right? Because
Yes.
most people are used to bread and butter, box over box, it's a house, cake, whatever it is, but you're actually responding to aircrafts. So I guess what is the in a quick sentence, what is the difference from responding to this kind of emergency versus our bread and butter, which is a house fire?
It's different. We don't have any incidents, thank God.
Okay.
But if we do,
You training
it's
for it.
not going to be good. There's a lot of people on an aircraft. The concept of firefighting is the same. Only thing is you're in these big trucks,
Yeah.
with one nozzle and one guy. So it's tough. But we train for it, and it's an interesting job. I compare it to the FDNY.
Yeah.
Without the fires, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
So it's a cool job. We don't get fires, but that's fine.
That's good. I guess
that's
those are
fine.
one of the things that you don't want to. So
Right.
you're responding not just to fires, but you're also an EMT, right?
Yes.
So you're responding to medical.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure you get that a lot
Yeah. We do about 500 runs there a year
at the airport.
Yeah.
So this could be literally getting on the plane when they land, or off the plane,
or on off, falling
the
down
airport.
The escalator.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything. Yeah. The first time we started talking about this was with Darnell Parian. So he was on the show and he was telling us about, just that, because to me, it's very interesting because it's something that I've never seen. I've never even. So how do you train for this?
We do a yearly cert. We usually, if it's not on property, we usually go like Boston Airport or Rochester. Okay. So it's pretty cool. And you go to, when you first come on the job, you go to a 40-hour off class.
Okay.
And then you just continue your yearly training, and there's always something to do or something to learn.
Something to do.
A lot of reading, a lot of aircraft familiarization and stuff like that.
Yeah, I would imagine you got to learn all of that.
Yeah.
You got to know the aircraft like the back of your hand.
Yeah. Which is tough. It's tough, but the basics. You get the basics down, you'll be good. The more you know, obviously, the better.
The more you know, the better. All right, so now we're at MacArthur. What makes you say you want to stay for 20 years?
I love the job. I love both my jobs. CI and the, it's very rare where I get up in the morning and I'm like, I don't want to go to work today. But I love it. And it's a good job. It's fun. There's good people in both places, and I enjoy that.
Can you walk me through like a day at MacArthur, like when your shift starts? So like, how many people do you have on the shift with you? Like how?
We have 4.
Firehouse Fire is a family-owned company built on trust. Our trucks are standardized models crafted from years of real feedback with competitive pricing, top-tier national dealer network, and lead time in months, not years. We're ready when you are. Proudly based in Milledgeville, Georgia, visit Firehouse Fire on social media and drop a comment and let them know that the Firehouse on WRHU 88.7 FM sent
We
you.
have 4 minimum, sometimes 5. It depends on the season. Summer, it's usually 4 because guys are on vacation.
Okay.
We come in, we'll do our rig checks. We'll discuss a few things, whatever. If the chief has anything for us, he'll tell us.
Okay. So there's a chief, there's lieutenants,
there's 1 chief and 3 deputy chiefs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So our chief is there Monday through Friday, and then our other chiefs are 24-hour schedules.
Okay. So different. Okay.
Yeah,
But go ahead. So
we'll do our inspections. We do airfield inspections, and whatever we're tasked with during the day. Rig checks, clean the rigs, clean the firehouse.
Yeah.
It's like a regular firehouse, and there's always some sort of training at some point in the day that we like to do.
To get in there and do a little bit of training. All right. So we also got to talk about Central Islip because you're also the safety officer there, right?
Yes.
So what makes you want to do that and become the safety officer?
It's a paid job.
Okay.
It's my part-time job.
Okay.
More than that.
So I didn't know that. So
Yeah.
it's a paid job.
Yeah, it's a fire district safety officer.
Okay.
But more into the department. I'm also a safety officer for the department as well. But
okay.
I'm usually.
Is that like fire prevention officer too? Kind of.
No.
Okay, so you have a fire prevention officer and a safety officer.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I like. I'm in charge of the equipment there and stuff like that. I like doing that stuff, and I like to make sure everybody's ready to go when the bell rings.
Okay.
And
so you're the one on the scene making sure gloves is on,
So-
stuff is on.
no,
No?
I'm still playing.
So you're the first to the scene most of the time, probably.
Yeah.
Ah,
I don't.
okay.
I respond on the engine or the truck, whatever. I don't. We have a safety officers that come to the scene, and they do that. They're the glove guys. And
Okay.
But I do try my best to always have my equipment on.
Okay.
Always have my gloves on.
But I guess as a safety officer that is responding, you're looking at safety in the structure.
Yes.
You're doing all of that.
Yeah. We are. Our officers are all. Our line officers are safety officers as well, but they're not acting safety officers on the fire ground. They're officers. But at some point, everybody's got to be like, hey, maybe this isn't safe. So, everybody should have that safety mentality, but we also have a job to do, and the job itself isn't safe. So
yeah, so there's only so much.
Yeah.
All right, so I gotta ask you a question about making the push, right? You got to tell me about. So just for our listeners, I think I either reached out to you or you reached out to me.
You reached out to me.
I reached out to him, and I didn't know his. I kept calling him for my second. Well, not my second. My assistant. They're like, "What's his name?" I'm like, "His name is Making the Push."
Yeah.
I don't know. Then I had to reach out. I'm like, "It's Phil. It's Phil." But I kept calling him Making the Push. As long as it took for us to get all this together, every time they ask, I'm like, "Oh no, when is Making the Push coming out?" So tell us a little bit about Making the Push.
So I'm a big cancer prevention type of guy. My 21-year-old who's in the fire department with me now had a lengthy battle with cancer when he was 11 years old.
Wow.
I've seen guys in the firehouse get cancer, and I just try taking that safety officer position allows me to be more involved in the prevention of trying to prevent the cancer.
Okay.
Hoods, stuff like that, all that stuff. And it's something I wanted to do when I took that safety officer position, and keeping the guys safe and trying to prevent them from getting cancer, because I know what it's like to go through it. My wife went through it, my son went through it, my father went through it, a lot of friends went through it. And if we could prevent one guy from getting cancer, I don't know. That's a win.
Yeah,
that's
you're
a
right.
win.
Yeah,
I'm big into that. I take that pretty seriously.
Okay.
And as far as the other things I'm making the push, fire ground accountability and stuff like that, I'm all into that stuff too.
Okay.
Like, you know, I'm like to be a smart firefighter.
That's right. That's
Dangerous,
right.
but smart. You know,
Right.
you got to take your chances, but to a point.
To a point. So shout out the Instagram just so everybody knows where to look. And
It
find
is
it.
Making the Push on Instagram. It's Making MAKIN_the_push.
Push. So go check that out. You have tons of videos on there.
I'm trying to
Safety
build
videos.
it.
I saw them. Yeah, got a lot of stuff that's on there. All right, so let's get into some stories, Phil. We got Central Islip stories. We got MacArthur. We talking 20 years worth of stories.
Yeah.
Let's start there. What you got at MacArthur?
MacArthur, it's been pretty good career. Pretty good
Okay.
career.
Anything you? Well, you said no real fires.
Well, we
but
had a car
EMS,
fire once. We had a Suffolk County ESU vehicle go on fire.
Wow. How
So
does that happen?
I don't know how that happened, but I was lucky enough to be there with the crash truck, and I got to put it out with the
Wow.
crash truck. So that was
Wow.
pretty cool. Unfortunately, there was no cameras back then. It was
So
so,
there was
it'd have been
nothing.
cool to have on video, but that's like my highlight, I guess.
Okay.
And then you're going on EMS calls to help people. I do not like EMS at all.
Okay.
Anybody that does EMS, I put them on a level way up
Hats
here.
off to them.
Way up here.
Hats
I
off.
do not like it. I do it. I do not like it. But
Yeah.
if I can help somebody, it's
You're
a
definitely
win.
going to be able to do
Yeah.
it. It's funny. I was just on a plane the other day, and then there was a guy there. I guess he was like drunk or whatever, and EMTs had to come on to take him off.
Mhm.
Like, so we're all landed, we're ready to leave, and they're like, everybody sit down.
Yeah.
We got to get this
Yeah.
guy off.
We do that. We do that.
And they had to get him off. So
That used to happen a lot when the Vegas flight used to come in.
Yeah.
So
So
it
now,
was-
are you even able to get a stretcher in between?
no.
I've never even
No.
thought. So how do you get this? If someone is actually out, they're passed out, whatever reason, how are you getting them off? A stair chair?
Yeah,
or-
stair chair. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Or you carry them off. It depends on the situation.
Okay.
Usually, most of the times, if they're conscious, obviously, we'll just have them walk off. Or
Okay.
if it's not a super emergency, we'll let the people get off the aircraft before that person, and then we'll just take care of it.
And then you'll take care of it right then and there. All right. Has there been any issues with like staff on the planes that you have to take care of them? Or
No.
it's pretty much
Yeah,
patients that
usually,
have the issues.
travelers.
All right.
Yeah.
You said something about escalators.
Yeah, escalators. Yeah. Every once in a while,
People
somebody
just fall straight down.
straight down, and it's never good.
And
It's
I can
never good.
imagine.
Yeah.
Those things are steep, but they
Yeah.
go straight down.
Yeah.
All right. So Central Islip, what stories you got for me? What stories
Where
you
do you
got
wanna
for me,
start?
Phil?
Where do you want to start? I've seen it all there. I mean, we're a pretty busy department. I've made a couple of rescues. I've
Tell me about it.
failed at a couple of rescues, I guess you can say.
Tell me two good stories.
Two good stories?
that
All
come
right.
to your mind. Two good stories.
First story, I think I was third assistant,
Okay.
maybe second. I don't remember. I remember it clearly, but I don't remember it too much. We get a structure fire, reported occupant trapped. My chief gets on scene. I don't know, minute behind him maybe, and he's on the radio. You got to get in there. The kid's in the down the hallway to the left. That's all I heard. Down the hallway to the left.
Okay.
So I get there. I'm trying to get dressed, and I'm running up to the front door, and as I get into the front door, I don't have my gloves on. Safety.
They say
And then I start crawling down the hallway, and as I'm doing it, I'm getting my gloves on. As I'm crawling, my knee hits one of my gloves, and I lose the glove. So I got one glove on, one glove off, and I'm like, all right, well, whatever. I got to get this
You
kid
gotta
out
get
of
this
here.
kid out
So
of here. Yeah.
I get into the room. Well, I get to the door. I push the door, and he pulled the dresser in front of the door. I think he was trying to say goodbye to the world.
Wow.
So I get the door open. There was fire in the room. It wasn't too crazy. But I'm calling for the kid, and I don't, I'm on the floor. I don't see him. And then I see him. He's on the bed. And he's just sitting on the bed. I'm like, let's go. We got to get out of here. And he's like, help. And then he's like, I don't want to go. So I'm like, what the hell? What are you doing?
Yeah,
we got to get out of
We
here.
gotta get out of here.
So,
And this is first floor, second floor?
First floor.
First floor. Okay.
Yeah.
First floor. Okay.
So he's on the bed, sitting with his
He's just
legs
sitting
out.
there.
So I grab his legs, and I try and grab him off the bed, and his feet were burned. So bare hand, I feel I come off his foot.
And you pull all skin.
And it's I feel it. Now I'm like this. I'm like, oh my God. Now I'm kind of pissed. But so I'm like, let's go. So I kind of did this wrestling power move, and I grabbed him by the neck and I launched him forward. As I launched him forward to the door, his arm gets caught in the door and in the hallway. So with that is when I pushed him forward, his arm hit me and like knocked my mask off a little bit. So I finally get him into the hallway, and then one of the guys from my company met me in the hallway, and we dragged him out. So we get him out. I come out. I fall into a bush, and I fall on the ground, and I'm just wiping my hand on the ground. And these guys are like, "What are you doing? Like, what's the matter?"
Look at his legs.
Get this off. I'm like, "Clean my hand. Clean my hand." They're like, "What's the matter?" I'm like, "Clean my hand." And I didn't even look at my hand, but eventually they cleaned it off. They got the guy. He lived, so it was good.
So I gotta ask you, was it the hand without the glove that you touched it?
Yes.
So
yes.
it was the hand without the glove.
Yes,
so
of course. Why wouldn't it?
Why wouldn't it be?
Yeah. So, but that was like, that was a success story. The kid lived. He changed his life around. From what I hear, he's still around and stuff like that.
Is
so
he able to walk?
He's able to walk. He's fine. I guess he had a little rough spot in life and
things happen. So I gotta ask you before we get into the next story. You crawl down this hallway, you get into this room, and you see him just sitting there. What is going through your brain at this moment?
I'm like, what are you like?
Because it's normally under the bed, in the closet, somewhere like that. And he's just sitting there.
Right. He was just
like, what goes through your brain?
Just like, what are you doing, bro? It was hot. I'm not gonna say it was super hot, but it was hot enough for him because he had no gear on.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is not the way you want to do it. Like, you know what I mean? And we just got him out, and from what I hear, he's living a good life.
That's good. That's good. Shout out to him. I'm glad he turned that around and realized that how life is so important.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. All right. So another story. What else we got?
Again, I don't know.
For over 50 years, Fire News has been the preferred publication for fire, rescue, and EMS heroes. Fire News print edition reaches Long Island, 17 states, and the District of Columbia. Visit firenews.com to see the latest news, read their digital prints, or follow them on Facebook and Instagram pages. In print, online, on social media, Fire News has you covered. Visit firenews.com. And if you go ahead and go visit on Instagram, please leave a comment and tell them that WRHU 88.7 The Firehouse sent you.
I don't know. Third assistant, second assistant again.
That's when it happens, huh?
They call me the Grim Reaper down there. We've had a lot of fatals that I was involved in.
Wow.
And this particular fatal was almost fatal to my fire career.
Wow.
Reported structure fire again. Chief gets on scene. He's giving his report, and I hear this mother screaming in the background, my kid.
Wow.
So I'm on my way. I'm like, this isn't going to be good, right? So engine gets there. Fully involved first floor. I don't think the second floor was involved, but the whole first floor was involved. So you had to crew went upstairs to try and search for this girl. The mother said the girl was upstairs. They get in there. I go around to the back for some reason. The stairs, stairs. People like to crowd the stairs. So
of course,
I'm like, I'll go to the back. Let's hope this girl jumped out the back window.
Yeah.
Right. Not the case. I come back around to the front. Now I'm gonna follow these guys upstairs. They come out. Two my good friends. They come out and they're steaming. They're like, we couldn't get her. She's not up there. They're steaming. I'm like, well, if those guys came out, nobody's getting up there, right? Yeah. So eventually the line gets up there. Eventually they find this girl. She must have hid in the closet in the knee wall. They didn't, who would have thought? So they bring her out, doing CPR on or whatever. She doesn't make it. Everybody, of course, it's like, 14-year-old girl, whatever.
Yeah.
So whatever, we overhaul, we take up, and I'm driving home, and I'm like, wow, man, that was pretty crazy. This mother just lost her kid, and and I had one child at that time. Mm-hmm. So before I had a child, fatal fires didn't bother me.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, this one is like, oh, this is like, yeah. So I get home, whatever, I go to work, and then the next day I'm like, I just couldn't do anything. I couldn't do anything. I'm I don't even want to go to work. I don't want to go to the firehouse. I don't want to look at my chief's car. And then I went and talked to somebody, because, don't be a wimp. Don't be a wimp. I'm like, I'm tough. I'm tough. And then I'm like, wait a minute.
It's a lot.
I'm not tough.
Yeah.
I'm not
tough. It's a lot.
So I went and talked to somebody. And after that, I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I took my car to the firehouse, called the chief. I'm like, I'm done for a little bit.
Wow.
A little bit. So I got some help. I talked to people.
How long were you out for?
I think a month.
A month?
Yeah.
Was the help that you got from the fire department, did they?
Yeah, they were good.
They
were
gave you
good.
those resources to kind of help you out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Critical incident team and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it definitely helped, and the strongman persona of the firehouse was no longer with me. I'm like, I'm human. This is it. This happened. This almost ended my career. So I got the help I needed. I came back, and it took a little bit of while to get back into it because I was an aggressive guy. It took a little bit to get back into it, but that point in my fire career changed my life, and I think prepared me for the future when my son was diagnosed with cancer, to handle that as well as we did. So it unfortunately, it was a bad thing that turned into some good thing now in the future. So,
what age did he get diagnosed with cancer?
He was diagnosed at 11.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's
super. It was.
Rough.
I was at a chief's office. I took a couple months off to just relax, and I was going to get back into it. Then he got sick, and it was just for 3 years. It was just him. Just him and the family. He has a sister and a brother, older brother. So we had to take care of him. It was a pretty bad diagnosis. He's doing great now.
I love that.
He's one of the saltier kids in the firehouse.
Okay.
I gotta tell him to slow down.
He's in the firehouse with you. Okay.
Yeah,
have you been to a fire with him yet?
Yeah. Finally, a month ago, we got to crawl down the hallway together, which was pretty cool.
Man, I can't wait to the day. My son's in the juniors. I can't wait to that day where I can crawl down the hallway with my son. So you got to walk us through that fire.
So
you got to walk us through that, because there's dynamics here. Your job, you're safety officer, safety, but all of that kind of goes out the window when you're with your kid.
Yeah.
Knowing what you've been through, knowing everything that could happen, walk us through that. What's going through your brain when you look and what's his name?
Jason
is to the right of you, or Jason. What was he backing?
He was behind me. He was behind me.
Okay, are you the officer?
No. I was the irons guy.
Okay,
I was the irons guy.
Right.
He was the hook.
So he's right behind you. Knowing Jason is behind you, talk to us. Like, how does that?
We went up the stairs. He was up the stairs to the left. An easy thing. We got to the hallway. Couldn't see nothing. We find the fire. Hose team comes up. He's to my left. I duck into the bathroom. So we give the hose team a nice clear way, and we just did our job. Like, I didn't have to tell him to do. Like, he just knew what to do. He found the door. He opened the door when the line got up there, and unfortunately, the house was like a Collier's mansion type, so we couldn't go anywhere.
Man. Yeah.
But when we came out, I dumped down the stairs on the front porch. That was pretty funny and embarrassing. But he's, and we had a little discussion afterwards, and we always talk about fires, whatever crew we're on. We always talk about fires when we're done. And then I didn't realize it until like that night. I'm like, hey, we crawled down that hallway together this time.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, that was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. I'm like, yeah,
it was.
It was really cool, because we've been in fires together, but he was the nozzle man, I was the irons guy and stuff like that.
Things like that.
He's like, how come you don't back me up? I'm like, Jay, if I'm at the iron spot, I can both back you up and watch you at the same time. A little favoritism, But it was cool. That's cool.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
All right, so let me ask you a couple of questions, right? I got to ask one question. So if there was something that you wanted to debunk right now about firefighting, what would you want to debunk?
The strongman, Superman hero thing.
Yeah.
Where we are all regular people. People see us as heroes. People don't see the real human being side of us.
Yeah.
We're humans. We struggle like the normal person. We have ups and downs just like the person that's not a firefighter. We're human. We are just a little bit crazier humans to do the things that we do.
Just a little bit. So it's just the what we were kind of talking about before we were on air. We were talking just about, you could see Phil at ShopRite. You could see Phil at Walmart. You might have just went to that fire and you could see them. So that's just for our listeners to know, like, if you're thinking about joining, come down. Like, at one moment, Phil didn't know this either, and he was taught and showed what what needed to be done. All right, so I love that. All right, so you know what we could do, Phil? Let's get into our game, the flashover. Okay. Let's start the game, the flashover. So, in the flashover, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you a couple questions. I'm going to ask you Android, Apple, something like that. You got to give me the answer, but it's got to be quick. All right? Got to be quick. Okay. Phil, what's a flashover? Talk to me. What is a flashover?
Flashover is something you don't want to be in.
I think that is the best answer that we've had. Yeah. We don't need the technicals.
You don't want. They're cool to watch,
but you don't want to be in it. But the point of a flashover, it's quick, it's fast, and that's how this game is. It's quick and fast. So whatever questions I ask, you got to answer them quick. All right. So. Listen, Chief, are you ready for the flashover?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay. We're going to do movies. We're going to do TV shows. If you don't know them, just say you don't know them. But we're also going to add some stuff in there, too. Okay. All right? All right. So, are you ready? During a parade, right? Drive the rig, drive the Chief's truck. Which one you doing?
I'm driving the Chief's car.
You're driving the Chief's car, right? Okay. All right. All right. Are you ready for this one, Phil? Mm-hmm. Calendar photo shoot, right? Or walk in a parade 100 degrees in full Class A. You can pick one.
I'm going Class A. Nobody wants to see me on a calendar, that's for sure.
Not doing the calendar.
No.
All right, let's keep going here. Brush fire, rocking dumpster fire.
Brush fire.
Why brush fire?
Brush fires are fun. Back in the day, you got a lot of burned a lot of calories in brush fires.
All right. Basement fire, warehouse fire.
Basement fire.
Basement fire?
Yeah.
Going basement fire. Yeah. All right. This is a good one. Confirmed car fire, right? Or an automatic alarm with a light smoke condition. Confirmed car fire or automatic alarm with a light smoke condition. So we know.
Give me the automatic alarm.
Yeah, because that could be something. That could be something. All right. So we said you weren't running for commissioner. Ever, right? We're not doing that, right? No. But still got to ask. At an installation dinner, you only can pick one. Sit with the commissioners at the table or sit with the probies.
The probies.
You're sitting with the probies?
Yeah.
All right. Let's go. 2 hours before a department critique, right? You're the captain of the company. You got 2 hours before the department critique. Are you going to have the guys do a training in those 2 hours or clean up the firehouse?
We could train.
Do another training right before the training. Let's get it going. Let's get it moving. All right. Now, let's get into some movies, all right? Or some TV shows. Okay. Are you ready? Chicago Fire Rescue Me.
You're going to kill me? Neither.
Neither?
I'm not a fire show guy. I can't do it. I just can't do it.
Before I keep going, you got to explain.
I watch Backdraft, and I'm like, I can't.
Because that was going to be one of my questions. Backdraft or Ladder 49.
I can't.
Neither one.
No, it's just too fake. It's just too fake. Like I get the concept, the Firehouse side of it. Yeah. Nah. Not a TV guy. I'm not
for you.
Yeah.
Too much. All right. So with that said, then we'll skip forward to the most important question I'm going to ask today. And that is engine or truck? Engine all the way. There we go. Engine all the way. So father in an engine company?
Yes.
You in the engine company?
Yes.
Your son in the engine company?
Yes.
How many kids do you have?
I have another son.
You have another son, right?
He's down in Myrtle Beach Fire.
Okay.
Engine company.
So these are engine men all the way through.
Yeah. Although Myrtle you could do either or.
Okay.
He'll get detailed to the truck, or his house is Station 1, the Midtown, I forgot. But they have a rescue truck and an engine there with an ambulance. And he likes to ride the ambulance. I do not know where he got that from, because he didn't get it from me.
He didn't get it from you.
Yeah.
But he likes to do it.
Yeah.
All right. So let's keep going here. That firefighting is high stress, and there's always, so many personalities, and you've been chief before. You've held every single rank. How do you keep the camaraderie? Whether you're the captain, whether you're the chief, how do you keep the camaraderie with everybody?
It's tough. it's tough. You have to keep the guys involved, or girls,
Mhm.
whatever you have in your department. We have both. You have to keep them involved. You have to keep them trained. You have to keep them aware of the reason why we're here. Like,
Yeah.
I'm all about having fun. I'm all about joking around. But when the bells go off, you gotta take care of business.
You got to take care
You
of
have to.
business. You gotta.
Yeah, you have to keep these people prepared to do that.
So I got a couple more questions for you, but just because of the time that you've been in, right? What is one piece of equipment that you've seen like really change the fire service or made it for the better? Or even your favorite piece? Like, what equipment do you think has really, like, I guess, evolved over time?
I like,
And that's kind of two-part question.
yeah, accountability.
Hmm.
I like accountability. We use a tablet system in our department. It's kind of a threefold system, but I think it's so hard to have a perfect accountability system in the volunteer fire service because
Yeah.
you never know who's going to be on your rigs.
Yeah.
You never know. But we have it.
I remember the little clips.
We have the
clip it up,
clips. We have
clipboard.
the clips. We do that, and we back that up with a tablet where we would punch our badge number in if you have
Okay.
time. And once you turn on your portable radio, that transmits to a tablet. And say if you take the 3 irons position,
Okay.
you would be in that position. So on the fire ground, if something ever happened and you called a mayday, if your name's not on the tablet, the position will still give the mayday. So you'll know, like, 3 irons just gave a mayday. You
Okay.
kind of know where he should be or she should be. The name on the tablet is not so important, but important because if you get that name and you see, like, oh, it's this guy, maybe he's not going to be where he should be.
Yeah.
Because we do
Yeah.
have those freelance firefighters. Everybody
Of
does.
course.
But I'm big on accountability.
Okay. On accountability.
Safety,
That's
you know,
the most important. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure you've seen that evolution
Yeah.
from everyone freelance into
Yeah. to having to be, yeah. And I believe it's Syosset who has now the you tag into your radio or something like that, which is even better.
Even better.
So,
and,
yeah.
and it's getting better with
Yeah.
time. It's getting better
Yeah.
with time.
Yeah.
All right. So I got to ask you a question. When it comes to, just your life in a whole, how has the volunteer service, being in the volunteer fire department, how has it changed your life?
Well, through the experiences, I appreciate life more than I used to. When I was a young fireman, as 17, 18, 19-year-old firemen, they're reckless. We were reckless. We were doing stupid things. we were taking chances that
You didn't need to take.
those same core guys probably wouldn't take right now. But it taught me how to live life responsible, I guess you could say.
Okay.
I have, I'm very dedicated to what I do in the Central Islip Fire Department and also at the airport. I like to see people succeed. And I go by my motto there, and the guys laugh at me all the time at the Firehouse is I say, do the right thing even when nobody's looking.
That's right.
If you do that, you can't be wrong. You just can't. And that's my outlook on the service and life as well.
All right. And it really, it literally, like you said, I think in your bio, it is your life, right?
It is.
It's, starting in the volunteer service, and both of your jobs are that still.
Right.
So
Yeah.
you're still doing that. So it literally it is your life.
Yeah.
So, I love to hear that, especially for our listeners to know, like, when you join into whatever department or anything like that, the it's endless. The opportunities are endless.
It's a second family.
There you go.
It is. It's a second family. We in Central Islip and MacArthur too. I'll just use both departments. Pretty much, you ask anybody for a favor or help, they're going to do it for you, or it's going to get done. It's like a second family when you don't have. Maybe some people don't have such a great family life. They can come there and say, "Oh, here's my family."
So 34 years in total, right?
Yes.
20 years in MacArthur.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at retirement anytime soon?
10 more years.
10 more years.
10 more years.
10 more years in MacArthur.
10 more years.
How
in
about
MacArthur.
safety officer? We're gonna.
I like it. I love it
until you can't.
I love the job. I love.
You love that.
I love. We put a couple things in play for cancer prevention and stuff in the Firehouse, and I take a lot of pride in that.
That's
doing
good. Okay.
Yeah.
Just really quick, just for our listeners, that if they wanted to get into MacArthur, like, being a firefighter there, how would they go about doing anything like that? Like,
So it's a civil service test.
Okay.
So you'd have to take the test. I believe there's one coming up maybe this year or early next year.
Okay.
I'm not too sure, but you need certs to get on Firefighter 1, Firefighter 2, Haz Mat, Ops, I believe, EMT, CDL. Okay. So you do need some credentials.
Yeah. But it's a civil service test for you to get that. All right. Would you, and I think I had asked Darnell this before, because you have MacArthur, right? But then you have JFK and LaGuardia. Do they have their own team like that, or is that FDNY?
No, they're Port Authority. Port Authority, yeah.
Okay.
But they do have crash crews there.
Okay.
Yeah, but not FDNY.
And on Long Island, we have MacArthur, and then there's another airport.
Republic.
And
I think Gabreski has a crash crew as well.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, listen, even though I know it's Phil, I'm going to say making the push. Am I forgetting anything? Anything that we want to shout out or say before we get out of here?
No, just if you want to join the fire service, do it.
Okay.
Especially if you join the paid fire service. Like my boy left to go down to Myrtle Beach Fire. I thought he was a big baseball player when we were younger. And he said he didn't want to go to college to play baseball. So I said, you got to get a job. I didn't mean he had to go 7 states south and leave the country, leave the state.
Yeah.
But he's living his best life down there. He's a career fireman. He's loving it and kind of jealous of it. But
Myrtle Beach is nice.
If you get the opportunity to do it, or join, even the volunteers, do it. It's
so kind of with that said, and you can keep going there, is if there was someone that's listening right now that, is thinking about joining or is in and they're only got a month or two in, what advice would you want to give them? As literally 34 years, you've had every position. What advice would you want to give them?
I would say take the job seriously. Listen to the senior guys. You're going to learn something new at every single alarm you go to. So pay attention to that. And if you join for a reason, right? So if you join for a reason, stick it out, get the education, and it's a great job. Volunteer or paid, it's a great job and a lot of fun.
I love it. All right. Listen, Phil, thank you so much for coming down to the Firehouse and just talking about, your life here and everything that you do. So thank you for everything that you do.
Welcome.
Next time I'm over at MacArthur, I'm going to be looking.
Let me know. Reach out to them. Reach out to the Making the Push guy. And
there you go.
I'll come see you.
Going there. Where's Making the Push at? But anyway, listen, thank you so much for coming out.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. All right. So I hope you all enjoyed that. I really did. I mean, I did. It was amazing. We just heard from Chief Phil Falco. Did I say it right?
Yes.
I always want to make sure I got it, from the Central Islip Department, about his life as a firefighter. I hope you all enjoyed that conversation. Please like, share, subscribe, do all of those things. I am your host, Chris Moses, and please tune in next week to another great conversation in the Firehouse.